This program is brought to you in part by SalCal Real Estate Connections. Welcome to Racing Action Today. We're here today with special guest, race car driver Jason Palmer and Dad, favorite crew chief, Jags Palmer.
Good afternoon.
We're going to talk about how we're going to put these cars together and what it takes to run every week during your racing schedule.
Yeah.
I got to ask you one thing, Jax.
Yes.
How come they call you Jax?
Well, my father's name was Jiggs. We're both Julius Palmer.
Okay.
So my father's nickname was Jiggs. Mm-hmm. So the kids razzle dazzle and they call me Jags for the jagged edge. Yeah. He's always on the edge, the jagged edge, so they call me Jags.
Oddly enough, somebody asked me that. Why do they call him Jags? I said, I don't know.
Yeah, that's it. We were down in Speed Weeks in Florida when we were kids, and whatever happened. But that's what they gave me that name of Jags,
and it stuck.
Yeah.
So tell me, Jason, you race these cars, these limited, what do they call it?
Late model.
Late model.
Yeah, it's like an ACT type of late model.
You race these cars. Now, when you're going to put this car together, what you do yourself, am I right,
Yes.
Jax?
Yep.
You get a frame, or do you buy one, or put one together yourself, the frame?
Different ways you can do it. I mean, you could buy a used one from someone,
Okay.
and then upgrade it and put it to your liking. Or, I mean, not many people buy these cars brand new because they're quite expensive.
Now, when you say you could buy one, is there a certain dimension everything got to be, the frame?
Yeah, there's a rule book that you have to follow as far as, roll
So
cage
everyone's got the same frame?
It's not per pipe. But the roll cage has to be a certain thickness steel.
They're all called late models, but none of them are the same. That's probably the reason why the tracks don't get the car counts they want, because they're so different in the rules. A Stafford late model and a Waterford late model are
completely different.
Completely different.
See, that I don't know why they don't get the hint.
A Stafford late model
and make them the same.
Stafford late model has a big motor in it, very expensive motor, like an SK motor in the late model, and then it has a street frame off
like a Monte Carlo.
G metric frame.
Oh wow!
Based on that theory, even though now they may have changed the rules where you could do a little bit of your own work, but whereas an ACT car is like a modified with a body on it.
Oh well,
for the most part.
Now your number 17 car looks like a very pretty car. The body itself, what does that replicate to be?
It's supposed to be like a Chevy Monte Carlo
Impala
SS.
That's an Impala.
At one point they were actually more like a Chevy Lumina. You'd have a Lumina body.
Yeah.
Then they went to the Monte Carlo SS. We'd have a Monte Carlo SS. And then nowadays they kind of got rid of the four-door sports car thing. So there's really no, we don't have a car.
I mean, you would think they would use Camaro bodies.
Well, they do.
Yeah, they do. Okay.
The newer cars right now is a Camaro Mustang, or even a Toyota Celica, I think it is. Or
really? Is that right?
Oh, Camry, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So there are new, now you could mount the newer style body, but you have to change everything front to back as far as the roof, the windows, everything. So over the winter, when we redo our car, if the windows or the roof isn't, the roof typically doesn't get bad. Maybe this year it's bad.
Now, let me ask you a question. Does the roof have to be a regular car?
No.
It's all fiberglass.
It's all fiberglass.
Yeah, none of these parts are off a regular street car.
Okay.
It's, there's two main body distributors, 5-star and AR bodies.
Yep.
And they both make, both their bodies will fit the templates. They're both very similar.
Are they very expensive?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like $4,000 for a complete one.
Yep.
And even a little bit more because you get windshield and all that costs extra.
And then you could buy
a crash kit, which is
like the perimeter, like the stuff you typically rub.
So when you're rubbing,
your fenders and your nose, your hood, all that
doors.
stuff. So a lot of the doors and the fenders are all the same. I think just the noses are different, right?
Yeah, the doors and the fenders are the same. The nose and that's it. Just the nose, like basically like a, like a 2015 whatever Chevy, Ford, or a Toyota. The only difference is the actual front bumper cover and the decal package. It's just stickers.
Oh wow.
Even the newer cars like the Camry, the Mustang, and they still have the Toyota Camry.
Now, the wheelbase is the same? Everyone got the same?
That's different.
That is different.
So there's a rule.
Not in our class. Our classes.
We have basically a 1-inch range, like 105.5 inches to 104.5 inches.
Okay, so yeah, you're tied in. You have to be there. Do they check this at the track?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They do. Before the race or after the race?
After.
Yeah.
After.
If you win, they're looking.
They look. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They look.
So,
which is good. You want that. You want them to look. There's sometimes they don't look enough because you want them to. If you when you don't win, you always want them to look for more. You want a reason to win, but
yeah. So now, how about weight? Does that vary or no?
No, that's
so typically between 2,750 and 2,800 pounds with driver, and then left side weight. Because we turn left, you want all the weight to the inside of the car.
So it pays to be a small guy, or no?
You could add, like if I got in the car, I would take weight off the car. If he gets in the car, you would add
but
weight.
I'm saying when you have a smaller guy, you could put the weight where you want it.
Exactly. See, now you're showing your racing knowledge.
Well, I know a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know everything, but I know a little.
Yeah.
So now, when you come down to the chassis, the rear end, is it a straight rear or do you use quick change?
You can run whatever you want. We have a quick change in our
Okay.
car. You could run a straight rear, have the gears set for that track only. But you could also run a smaller. You could run like a quick change rear end. Might be there's a big one, and there's also an 8-inch one, a smaller one.
Smaller one.
For less, motors are only. It's a 603 they call it, so it's like there's a motor rule. You got to have so much. You can't have too much horsepower. They could take it to the dyno and they could measure that too if they want.
Now, when you say 60 what?
603.
That's like
it's a
It's a package.
Well, GM used to have like a 602. I don't know.
Yeah, they still do.
Same thing.
Yeah,
So this is a different version?
Correct.
Yes.
So the 602 is basically like a GM crate motor circle track package with a steel head.
Okay.
The 603 is, I believe, the same bottom end with aluminum ZZ4 heads, or ZZ4 like fast burn heads on it.
Okay.
And then they have the 604, which has the GM bow tie heads on, aluminum heads on it. So there's a 602, 603, 604. And in our class, you can actually run all three of them.
You can.
The 602, they allow you to run a 4-barrel because it has a steel head and it's a little heavier. It doesn't make the power. The 603, you could run just a 2-barrel carburetor. And then the 604, you have to run a restrictor plate and a 2-barrel because it makes, I don't know.
Makes more power?
Yeah, I think it makes 30 or 40 more horse. They put a restrictor plate on it.
Are you tied in to only be able to buy these from a certain people or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Does it have to be track affiliated somehow or no?
No.
Rule affiliate. You have to have not a membership, but appointed by the division. Like ACT will give you a list of engine builders you can use. It's a little bigger than it used to be.
Yeah.
It's a little more convenient for you. There's a few more here and there, but for the most part, they all have rules to go by.
Are they real expensive or no?
They could be. It depends on when. So just to go back to what he said. So the ACT stands for American Canadian Tour.
Okay.
So they run anywhere from.
Yeah, I know the tour.
Weekly, they run Connecticut, and I shouldn't say weekly, but over the course of the season, they typically run Connecticut, Mass, New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine, and they run tracks in Canada also. They also travel down south over the winter, and they do a couple exhibition, call it races down there. So the ACT Tour, they actually. They regulate the motor builders. Even though we race at Waterford, we go by the touring series rules.
Now, is your car legal to go that?
Yeah.
You can literally go to ACT and race.
We did this year.
Wow.
We went to Stafford and ran in the beginning of the year. We ran the ACT race.
Oh wow! I had
One of their
no
races.
idea of that.
And then last year we ran the act race at Waterford. The finale was an act race, so it was 150 laps.
Wow. Yeah, it's expensive, but to do that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? To do it all year.
Circuit, yeah.
You got to travel, hotel,
Oxford, Maine.
Find people that want to go with you because you need a full
Canada,
crew.
right? What do you got?
Quebec, everywhere.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But it's a really good deal. I mean, they do it the All-Pro Tour down south, or whatever they call it now, Earnhardt's thing. That's basically the same. He runs it like in 4 or 5 states, which is all. Going to Canada as well.
Same car.
Yeah.
Same kind of car.
Pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But to answer your question about the price of the motors to rebuild, it's inexpensive and they last. They're like an act season, I think they run 14, 15 shows, and their races are, 100 to 200 laps.
Yeah.
So an act motor is good for a season. So for the fact that we run Waterford and we run, 30 or 50 lap races,
Yep.
we could run 3 seasons and put the same amount of laps on as they do.
Wow. Well, that's a good thing.
That makes it inexpensive. And then as far as them being basically, they're regulated, the pricing is regulated, the motor itself is, highly regulated.
Yeah.
All the information, whatever the motor builder does to it, whatever the approved engine builder does to it, all of his information has to get documented with the ACT office. Everything goes back. It's all, they know, like if my motor ever got taken apart, and they looked inside it, everything has to match what that motor builder said it was. Or I could be in trouble, or he's in trouble, or someone's in trouble.
Someone's in trouble. Oh, yeah.
I won't be in trouble.
No. Now, clutch-wise, did they like a special dual face clutch, or what do you call it?
Yeah,
Disc, 5-inch.
They're smaller, right?
Yeah, it's a button clutch, they call it.
Yeah.
It's a super clutch.
Yeah.
So it has 2 discs, and it's
that big. The flywheel is that big.
Yeah.
That
it's
big.
in or out.
I don't know where I'm looking.
Oh, wow.
If you,
it's less weight.
Yeah, it's a lot less weight. It's basically in and out, it engages quick. But
how about transmission-wise? What do you use?
So we have to run.
It's 3-speed.
Yeah, we have to run a
Yeah.
GM stock
3-speed.
3-speed.
Has to have 3 gears in it.
Certain ratio,
There are different ratios you could run.
Yeah.
I won't tell you ours, but there are different
Well,
ones.
it's a secret, right? Just like the rear, I'm sure you fool around with that too a little.
Oh yeah,
Let me ask you a question. I'm always thinking about different things. Do you fool around with camber in the rear at all?
We're not allowed to.
Not allowed to.
Yeah,
it's illegal.
So that means we don't. Never would even think of that.
Yeah, and I mean it just makes drag, and it's just
yeah.
You wouldn't want to do that. But in the front end, like camber, like you'll change that based on weather. You'll change that based on car handling characteristics. So you'll adjust that.
You'll adjust that. Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you get to a real sweet spot, and the car just seems to keep working and working and working. But sometimes you kind of fade out of that window where the car, isn't turning as well, or it's turning too good. And then, you may try a couple minor adjustments, and if it doesn't correct it, then you kind of go towards the camber, and, you kind of watch how your tires are wearing and monitor your tire temps.
Now, that's a good question, too. Tires, what are you allowed to run?
They have a track rule tire.
And what is that?
It's a Hoosier tire.
Is it the same on each side of the car?
They're 40s and 50s. I think that.
Yeah, they're 8-inch,
the
8-inch lefts, 8-inch rights.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they have, like the ACT Tour, you could show up to the race, buy 4 tires, run the 150 lap race. There's no pit stops. At Waterford, they let you buy 2 a week. So, you start the year off. I think you buy 8 to start the year. So you got 4, and then you could buy every week. You acquire 2 more.
Yeah.
And then as the year goes on, you got to kind of use them. It's not like you can't
just put 8 tires on or 4 tires every week. You got to.
Well, there's people that will do that.
Well, but the rules don't allow it. Is what I mean.
Are they expensive? Number one.
Yes.
Always.
They've been up. Everything's up. What isn't up? What's expensive nowadays?
$180 or $180 per tire, which is probably not expensive because if you had a Honda like I did, I just paid $280 for a tire. But Keith, are you watching? But I mean, that's putting that on and you're gonna wear it out on the car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're gonna get
Whereas on the race car, you put it on for $180, and the next time you go, you're putting another one on for $180.
Yeah, tires are not cheap.
And people would put 4 on every week if you could.
I mean,
so
people are fanatics.
That's the reason. That's the reason why they made that rule, is so that you got to kind of play a game and maybe run 2 weeks on one set. Like we always run the first 3 weeks on our first set of tires, and that builds up an inventory. So now we can start figuring. He's tough. I mean, I always want to put a tire on, and he'll hold back. And it works out. I mean,
try to use them when I need them. I don't like to waste them. Like
now,
if we have if we think the car might be off a little bit,
you
we
wear out the rights real quick. More
they never really wear out.
They get
they
hard.
Heat cycle out. Yeah, every time you run them, it's a heat cycle.
Yeah.
So if you go 3 times, that's 3 heat cycles.
Oh wow.
So you know what I mean. In 3 heat cycles is still a good tire, but 5 or 6 against a 1 heat cycle.
And
Jason, you know right away when they're not working, right? You know right away.
Well, the thing is, like if you have one bad tire, like you may think it's just an ill handling car. Like it's hard to figure out that sometimes you don't know. It's hard to just dissect when you're driving it whether you have the tire that's just not, it's given up, or it's not firing up, or it's not working, or is the car not handling right? Because sometimes you can adjust to a bad set of tires, and then.
Well, there's pressure. I mean, do you ever run into a problem with pressure getting too high or too low? It doesn't. You don't have that much time on there to make a difference.
So the rear end's locked. So most of the time when you do pressure, it changes the corner weight of the car. You know, as far as the scales and the percentage and the actual height of the car. But for the most part, when we do pressure, it's to get the stagger right.
Yeah.
Because it's a locked rear.
Yeah.
So when we adjust the rear stagger or the air pressure, it changes the actual size of the tire. And because they're biases, they're like balloons. So if you put 2-3 pounds, you're going to be a half inch larger than if you had 2 pounds less.
No, as a rule of thumb, and I don't really want to know what you run, but what's the rule of thumb of somebody run for pressure in a tire?
So like in a bias, I mean, we run mid-20s on the rights and, low teens to 10 pounds, 9 pounds on the lefts.
On the left, okay.
Yeah.
So the softer, the better.
Yeah.
If you need
It'll come off the rim if you go too soft, so you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, the tire isn't, you want as much contact patch as you can, with the roll of the tire, but you also don't want the center of the tire to deform. So you want enough air to keep the tire flat, but you want the least amount of air as possible so the tire is spread out front to back.
Okay.
So there's kind of like a certain ratio.
Now, when you go to a track like this week you're going, do you ever have to see how hot the tire is, or does that matter? Like during the heat or during practice? Do you have to take a reading?
You have a tool for that you check the you start on the inside, the middle, the end, and you can tell your caster, your camber, if the weight's in the back, where the weight may be on the car or something like that.
Yeah.
You may have the car going, and you're going to run the first 2 practices. They give you 2 practices and a heat race. So you're going to run them on last week's stuff. You're not going to put new tires on.
Yep.
For the heat race, you put your new tires on because you got to qualify.
Yep.
Or I think you have to qualify on what you run the feature on. So you put them on, so now the car might be real good or real bad, but you said, oh, it's okay. We'll put the new tires on. The car will be good again. You put the new tires on and hope it's, usually it is good.
Yeah.
Well, we've had times where it wasn't good. We've had times where it comes in, I get the look on his face. I know the look.
Yeah.
He doesn't have an answer. I don't have an answer.
Well,
we end up changing everything.
When he's out on the racetrack and you're watching, could you tell if things are working?
Yep.
Right? Just by watching him.
Just by the attitude of the car and how he drives it.
Yep.
I could tell you right away. I know right away. I mean, I can usually tell him we're good or we're not good, and we're.
He always tells me we're not good. He's
right,
never happy.
I'm never happy. But that's me.
Now, or it's either not good or it's terrible.
Now, when you're timing yourself, this 3/8 mile, right?
Yep.
When you're timing yourself, does that vary often or no?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
As far as the lap times?
Yes.
So typically, like I would say when it's cold out, we're faster. The motors make more power. The tires don't give up as quickly, and they'll overall make more grip. So typically in the cold, we'll run like just over 14.5 seconds.
Oh, wow.
And then, 15.5 seconds.
Oh, wow.
And then when it's real hot and greasy and terrible out there, we'll be in the low 16 seconds. So we're talking like a 15.5 all the way to like a 16.2, 16.3.
Okay. Do you monitor that, Jeff?
Oh yeah. I watch that a lot. I watch everyone. I watch all the cars. Yeah. So you gotta, at first I get upset because we're not in the where I want to be or where we usually are. But then when everybody's off, then you're okay. Usually, you kind of,
Yeah.
But we make
you're
some.
saying, well, if they could do it, if we're all going to be the same, we're good, right?
Well, the tracks, in other words, either the track is off or the temperature's hurting.
Yep.
It ain't just one thing,
Yep.
But I mean, it isn't. We've changed all 2 springs, sway bar, shock, you name it.
Try it.
Sway bar, like stuff you should do.
Now,
like
they have
rent a track and
Panhard bar. Or
yeah.
Well, we move that thing like nothing. I mean,
that's always moving.
That thing's fully adjustable. It goes up and down.
I want to put a motor on it so you can do it from the seat, but they won't let you.
Yeah. Wow. So you guys sound like you really got this thing down pat pretty good, huh?
We try.
I mean, if you look at results, you think, yeah, but if you sat there and watched this, you'd say, what the hell are you guys doing? Because they're always.
Well, we could pull the rabbit out of the hat at the end.
Yeah.
We've been lucky, yeah.
Well,
we're pulling. It's like I call it the bear. We're doing like the bear does. You know what the bear is, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're doing bear stuff because bears always last minute throw everything at it, and come out smelling like a rose. But
yeah, he's a character. Oh boy.
They're good people.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really a shame they lost Teddy. Yeah, the people we've lost in this sport.
Yeah.
And the old timers too. It's tough. Don Moon. Who the hell would ever thought? Now you know. What are you gonna do? It happens, and you just have to keep going. That's all.
When Teddy went, that was like he was on his way to. We're friends, and I know he was on his way to Riverhead, and he comes over and tells me, "You're not gonna guess what just happened."
Yeah.
And
hard to believe.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe it, right?
I think he didn't want to tell me. I could tell the way he come over. He really didn't want.
I was shocked because I really didn't know that he flew that much.
Yeah.
But evidently he does. He did. All right.
Yeah, that's one of the newses that you get that you don't really want to spread. You don't even want to say it because you don't even know if it's 100% true. It's kind of like
I'll tell you, you cannot believe how many people have died because of their success. That's a hard thing to envision.
Yeah,
but it's true. Yeah, he was a good guy, and there was 2 people. There was TC and there was Ted. They were 2 different people.
Yeah.
Right? Right, Jags?
Yeah, well, I knew him real well, so I know that,
Yeah.
I look at the one I wanted to look at, but he was always good to us. He was always good.
Yeah, I heard he was, I know the kid there, they used to help him there. Nasera, his name is?
George,
yeah. Yeah, it was heartbroken.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was right. He worked for him and everything.
Worked for him, and he drove that car with that Mystique, or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
He actually drove a car that was undefeated at New Hampshire.
Right.
I don't know if you let him use it. Or
I think he was running the SK. He was running the SK with it.
Yeah.
SK Light, I mean.
Yeah. He don't race no more. I don't guess. I don't probably.
I haven't
trying
seen
to
him
raise
around.
a family.
He was also with the Binkowski too. I think.
Yeah,
they were good friends
Gary.
too.
Yeah. He's another good friend of mine.
Yeah.
I got to get these guys together because we got to do a show about people who have passed away. And when we go back to the Plainville days, I got a list from Don Moon's wife. I swear to God, there must be 150 people on it that have passed away. Going back to the old days,
Yep.
That was something back then. And Mo Gursey, huh? Jackson.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy.
5 minutes from here. 5 minutes from my house.
5 minutes fair, yeah. Yeah, Dave, I tease all the time. Alcus, I tease, But
Dave was the kingpin, the big guy, and here I am with Rocco, who's coming in.
Yeah.
And you know how that is. Nobody likes to give up the throne.
I mean, it's hard to believe though the success that Keith has. Oh my God.
Yeah. He's amazing.
I mean, he's really
He
doing
just had
great.
another good weekend.
And I didn't know he builds cars too. Is that what he does?
Yeah, that's what he's doing now. He built motors for a while. Now he's building cars.
He rents them out, and every car that won is usually one of his.
One of his.
Yep.
You still doing some wrenching, Jags?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now tell me, where do you want to bring all this to?
Oh, it's there. I got it to the top.
You're happy.
If we keep it moving like this, and when the young ones come around, I'll be happier. But
let me tell you, when those two little kids start,
you're
going to be there. I know you are.
So.
And I can't wait to see them, I'll tell you. I saw him walk by at the fair. I was sitting on the side, and I said, "You went by with your wife?" And I said, "Wow, look at those two."
Oh, yeah.
Troubles.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, it's all good, you know. Well, this has been an interesting night here, talking about your success, and of course the success your father, Jags, has really brought to the whole family. He's the patriarch. They got this whole thing moving, right?
Oh, yeah.
He would have never got to 100. He will never get to 100 if I was still driving. You know that.
That's fighting words. Well, we want to thank you guys for being here. It's been a real pleasure, I'll tell you.
Thank you for having us.
Jags,
Thank you, sir.
really thank you. And I hope to come and watch you race one of these days, you know.
Yeah, we'd appreciate that.
And, you know, get to see what you do over there. Because I liked your car. I like the looks of it, I'll tell you. That number 17, man, that thing looks beautiful.
Thank you.
Who does your body work anyway?
It's all plastic.
It's all you.
That's all. We do it all, yeah.
And then Sign Pro takes care of all the wrap and graphics.
Yeah. Well, that helps.
Oh, yeah, they definitely they make it look great.
It looks pretty, I'll tell you. I like everything about it, the color and everything. It's a nice car. And I'm sure you got a chassis down pat that really, do you build any for anyone else at all or no?
We've been helping people.
You do some work with people?
Yeah. All like in the legend cars, I help everyone that comes along.
Well, let me tell you.
And now we got late model people.
Jags, whenever the subject came up about legend cars, your name was right on the top of the list.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, that's what they thought about you and your racing activity. Well, we want to thank you for coming tonight. It's been an outstanding night here at the Racing Action today, and we will look forward to next week for our next episode. And one of these days, we're going to get over to that racetrack and see you take another checker. What do you think of that?
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Love to see you there.
Looking forward to it.
Take care. Good night, and thank you. This program is brought to you in part by Just Results Weight Loss Center in Berlin, Connecticut.